This Swiss village has 2,400 residents, and 6,000 tourists show up every single day. The locals just voted to do something radical, and it's about to change how we travel to Switzerland forever. If you're planning a trip, you need to hear this before you book. Here's what the glossy tourism brochures won't tell you. Some of the most beautiful villages in Switzerland are literally dying from success. Meet Emma. She's 34, from California, and she saved for 2 years to visit Lauterbrunnen, that iconic Swiss valley with 72 waterfalls that looks ripped straight from a fairy tale. She wanted peace. She wanted alpine magic. She wanted to escape. She arrived at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday in July. Couldn't find parking. Waited 45 minutes circling the village. When she finally walked into the town center, she counted 47 tour buses lined up like a military convoy. The crowd was so thick, she couldn't even see the waterfall she'd flown 5,000 miles to photograph. I paid $400 a night, she told me, to stand in what felt like Disneyland. But worse, because at least Disney is designed for crowds. Here's the reality. According to 2024 data from the Swiss Tourism Federation, villages like Lauterbrunnen, Grindelwald, and Eiseltwald now receive 200 to 300% more visitors than their infrastructure was ever designed to handle. Lauterbrunnen has 2,400 permanent residents. On an average summer day, 6,000 tourists. Think about that ratio. That's not a village hosting visitors. That's an invasion. Now, if you're planning to visit, here's what locals actually recommend. Go in May or September, shoulder season. Arrive before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m. Or skip the famous spots entirely and explore neighboring valleys like Lauterbrunnen. Same jaw-dropping beauty. 90% fewer people. But here's the thing. Emma's frustration? That was nothing compared to what the locals are dealing with. And trust me, it gets way more uncomfortable. Okay, this is going to sound absurd, but it's real. And it's the #1 complaint from Swiss locals. We need to talk about toilets. Meet Hans. He's 67 years old. He's lived in Lauterbrunnen his entire life. He runs a small family guest house that his grandfather built in 1952. In 2023, tourists started knocking on his door at 6 a.m. asking to use his bathroom. Then they started just walking into his garden. Then they stopped asking permission altogether. I found human waste behind my shed, Hans told a local reporter, 3 times in 1 month. My home became a public toilet. I wish this were an isolated story. It's not. The village of Eiseltwald, population 400, had to install 12 emergency public toilets in 2024 because the complaints doubled year over year. Zermatt spent 2.3 million Swiss francs upgrading sanitation infrastructure. That's over $2.5 million USD on toilets. Swiss Info, a major Swiss news outlet, documented toilet tourism as one of the top 3 grievances in alpine communities. People are defecating in gardens, behind chalets, on hiking trails. The alpine air smells like pine and wildflowers until you walk behind the wrong building. So here's what you actually need to know if you're visiting. Download the SBB mobile app. It shows public restroom locations all across Switzerland. Train stations almost always have facilities. Plan your bathroom breaks. Don't assume a village of 500 people has the infrastructure of Zurich. It sounds basic, but this is what's destroying relationships between locals and tourists. And if you think that's embarrassing, wait until you hear what tourists are doing to private property. A single Instagram photo caused a village of 500 people to seriously consider banning all tourists. Here's how it happened. Eiseltwald, tiny village on the shores of Lake Brienz. Population, 500. In 2019, a Korean Netflix series called Crash Landing on You filmed a scene on the village dock. A romantic moment. Beautiful shot. The photo went viral. Then came 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. Tens of thousands of tourists, mostly from Asia, flooded this quiet village to take the exact same photo. The same angle, the same pose, the same dock. Locals couldn't access their own dock anymore. Private gardens got trampled because people needed the perfect angle. Flowers destroyed. Fences knocked down. One resident, Maria, told Swiss media, We became prisoners in our own village. I couldn't walk to my mailbox without someone asking me to move out of their shot. Tourism increased 800% in Eiseltwald after that Netflix show. 800%. In 2024, the village council voted to restrict dock access and implement a €5 entry fee just to control the chaos. The same thing happened in Lauterbrunnen. Those iconic flower fields you see all over Instagram, private property. Farmers had to install fencing after tourists destroyed crops, literally trampled Swiss farmland, to get their photos. Here's the reality check. If a spot is swarming with tourists, it's overdone. Switzerland has over 7,000 lakes and hundreds of equally stunning villages that nobody's heard of yet. Use apps like Komoot or All Trails. Find your own spots. Stop chasing the same viral photo as everyone else. But here's what really shocked me. The photo problem is just the surface. The real issue? It's about money. You think your $300 a night hotel supports the local economy? Let me tell you about Sophia. She's 29, from London. She booked what she thought was an authentic Swiss chalet experience through Booking.com. $350 a night in Grindelwald. She felt great about it. She was supporting locals, right? Living like the Swiss. Putting money into the community. Then she started asking questions. The property? Owned by a Dubai-based investment firm. Managed by a German hospitality company. The staff? Commuters from neighboring towns because locals can't afford to live in their own village anymore. 0 Swiss francs stayed in Grindelwald. This isn't rare. A 2024 study from the University of Lausanne found that in Switzerland's most popular tourist villages, 60 to 75% of accommodation revenue leaves the local economy. It goes to foreign owners, international booking platforms, and outside management companies. Meanwhile, the family-run guest house that's been there for 3 generations, they can't compete with the algorithm. The local bakery that opens at 5 a.m., tourists walk past it to get Starbucks. This is why locals are angry. They're dealing with overcrowding, trash, noise, and infrastructure collapse while the money flows out of their town. So here's what you do instead. Book directly with locally owned accommodations. Look for the term Familienbetrieb on websites. That means family operated. Use Switzerland Tourism's official booking site. Contact local tourist offices directly. Eat at restaurants where the menu's in Swiss-German dialect or has a Swiss flag out front. Shop at village co-ops, not chains. Take local guides for hikes, not international tour companies. Your money is a vote. Make sure it's voting for the people who actually live there. But just when you think you've got the full picture, last winter, something happened that made international headlines. And travelers are furious. Switzerland just did something no tourism-dependent country has dared to do. And it's dividing the entire travel community. In 2024, multiple Swiss villages rolled out tourist restrictions. Real restrictions, not suggestions. Zermatt now requires parking reservations. Show up without one? €200 fine. Lauterbrunnen is debating visitor quotas. Yes, like Venice. A TikTok went viral last summer. A tourist from Texas had flown 5,000 miles, spent $4,000 on his trip, and showed up to hike a trail near Grindelwald. He was turned away at the trailhead. The trail hit capacity. "This is insane," he shouted into his phone. "I paid all this money, and they're telling me I can't hike." The video got 3 million views. The comments exploded into a war zone. Here's the data. According to Swiss Info in October 2024, 18 Swiss municipalities now have tourism restriction measures in place. The Swiss parliament is debating a nationwide sustainable tourism bill. Polls show 73% of residents in high tourism areas support limits. But travel forums? Social media? Outrage. This is elitist. Only rich people who got there first can enjoy it. So much for Swiss hospitality. I reached out to the mayor of Lauterbrunnen, Karl Napflin. Here's what he told reporters. "We're not anti-tourist. We're pro-survival. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Our environment is degrading. Our residents are leaving because they can't afford housing anymore. This isn't sustainable." Then I read the other side. Travel bloggers, influencers, everyday people dreaming of seeing the Alps. Their argument? Travel is a human right. You can't gatekeep natural beauty. What about people who save their whole lives for this trip? And honestly, I see both sides. The locals didn't ask for this. They didn't build their villages to host thousands of strangers every day. But tourists aren't villains either. They just want to see the world. So what's the solution? If you're planning to visit these villages, here's what you do. Research before you go. Check if reservations or permits are required. Book in advance. Follow the rules, even if you think they're annoying. Or consider this. Switzerland has equally stunning places that aren't famous yet. The Engadin Valley, the Appenzell region, Val Verzasca. Same mountains, same beauty, a fraction of the crowds. Support the villages that are trying to do tourism sustainably by respecting their systems. Because if we don't, these places won't just restrict tourism. They'll shut it down completely. So here's my question for you, and I genuinely want to know what you think. Should these villages have the right to limit tourists, even if it means you can't visit your dream destination? Or is travel a human right that no one should be allowed to restrict? I'm honestly split on this. I want people to see the world, but I also don't want these villages to be destroyed in the process. Drop your opinion in the comments. And if you've actually been to Lauterbrunnen, Eiseltwald, Grindelwald, any of these places, tell me. Were you part of the problem? Or did you travel responsibly? Let's have a real conversation about this. Because the way we travel in the next 5 years is going to determine whether these places survive or become another cautionary tale.